bride behind me, her front drive shaft's been having a little bit of shake, so we decided to pull it out and give her a full rebuild. This video is going to cover taking out the U-joints, putting them back in, and also addressing the double cardan joint that's found on this front drive shaft, which can be a little bit tricky. But yeah, that's what's going to be covered in this video, so let's get into it. So I got all the crud out on top of the caps where the clips are, and these clips are fairly simple. You're going to grab a pair of needle nose, and you're just going to squeeze and apply these, and that spring moves inward, and then you're just going to lift up and pull it off the cap, just like this. So squeeze in, up, and out. And there you go. So we have two different types of U-joints. We have these with the outside clip, and then we have this on the differential end. We have an inside little C-clip. So you get this little C-clip, you press it out a little bit, you get in between it, and you just gently remove it just like that. Gently remove it out of its seat and give it a little pry, and you have it out. Those are all of our clips. We're going to go ahead and spray all these surfaces with WD-40, because that's going to make disassembly and pressing these U-joints out of the yoke ends a lot easier. We're going to get into taking the U-joints off. Now there's a couple different ways that people go about this. You could either use a shop press and press out each of the U-joints. You could use a hammer and a driver and just pound them out, or you could use a setup kind of like this, a clamp. This is a ball joint remover, but it also works well for U-joints. This is the method I use. So as we tighten this rod on this end, it's going to push that whole U-joint through, and we'll remove the cap. So just like that, it's out. We'll take our pair of vice grips and pop that cap off. And there we have our U-joints removed. On this drive shaft in particular, for Old Red though, this is the front drive shaft, and we have a double joint right here. So what's different on this drive shaft than a lot is that bearing right there that fits in there and rides on that. What we did was just take a flathead or a pick or whatever and just put it in that hole and just give it a pop out, and it comes right out of that seat. And we'll also be replacing that. Same process, slipping the clamp over, making sure that's all lined up. And as you can see, we're not having to use a lot of force with this C-clamp because I WD-40'd that and let it sit. So a little forethought and letting those sit with some penetrating oil really helps with disassembly. What I like to do before putting new U-joints in is just cleaning up this surface, taking a file, getting off any burrs, and then just running a little bit of sandpaper on the inside of that port where that U-joint will slide. That way you have a nice, clean, deburred surface, and that U-joint cap will slide right in there. So now that we have this drive shaft completely disassembled and cleaned up, she's ready for paint. So we have all our parts set up in our spray booth, and the first step we're going to do is hit it with this self-etching primer. What this is going to do is etch into the bare metal and give a really good surface for our black enamel to stick to. So this will be the first coat, followed up with this. So we're back here with Old Red's front drive shaft. We got all the pieces painted up. and we're ready to reassemble our U-joints. I'm gonna put the part numbers in the description for you guys, make shopping around a little bit easier. But Olres a 98 2500 Dodge Ram 4x4, so that's gonna work for a whole range of years. But yeah, let's get into this install. We're gonna need our trusty red and tacky, a mallet, and a little driver, and also some needle nose to put those cap retainers back in. But it should be a pretty simple process. So let's get into it. So the first step we're doing on the drive shaft today is addressing the double cardan joint and the centering ball. This centering ball pops out, and then I popped out the seat that it rides in with this just rear brake drum adjuster tool. So that comes out like that. We're gonna press our new unit in, put the new dust seal, the new spring, and it's gonna go together kind of like that and ride on that centering ball. So yeah, that's gonna be our double cardan joint. That's found in our Dodge Rams that this drive shaft is from, to give it a little bit more angle than one joint would allow. Walk you guys through putting one of these U-joints in, a little bit more in-depth version. I do have a short out there of installing and removing these, so check that out if you need a quick version of how to do this. But these U-joints go together real simply, and make sure these bores are all cleaned out. I hit them with a little sandpaper, put grease on these caps, and it makes it just slide in and work a lot better when you grease and make sure everything's smooth. So what I do, I have this cap upside down so those needle bearings don't fall in, and then I seat that shaft in there. And then what I'm gonna do, just place it on the edge of the table. Let's give this a couple taps, which is gonna push that cap in. And now I can work from this side. This side's all lubed up and centered, so I'm just gonna put that, make sure the shaft is going in square, put this on the edge of the table, give it a couple taps, and then we have that generally in. Next step is going to be slipping it onto the double cardan. This is going to be a little bit trickier because we not only have the caps on this end, but the centering pin to line up. So we want to make sure we put the spring back in that sits inside that centering ball, lube that all up, make sure this is packed really nicely with grease, and we're gonna go ahead and slip that in. So that's gonna go like that. We're gonna wanna get one side in, line up the centering ball, and then push the other side in. So now that we have the U-joints and their caps pressed into their yokes, we need to drive them completely in to reveal that seat and press in our lock ring. So what you're gonna wanna do is take a driver, pound it down so you see that little ridge revealed. So to get this lock ring on, what we're gonna do is take our needle nose, compress it, and let it engage into that groove. So here we have Olred's fully refurbished, restored drive shaft. I hope you guys enjoyed that U-joint removal, installation, and also dealing with that double cardan center bearing. I know those can be kind of tricky, but I hope you enjoyed this. So until next time, remember to like, subscribe, and follow.